listening to the Sticks in the Six podcast. Here are your co-hosts, Andrew Forbes, Peter Baracchini, and Alex Auston.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode 181 of Sticks in the Six. I'm your host, Andrew Forbes, here with my co-host, Peter Baracchini, and I like to keep that mix in there with Alex Hobson. I did reach out to him this past week, and he's looking to pop back on with us this coming December. So it will change eventually, but there's these low hopes that eventually he will come back and join us on this show, make it a trio once again. We do. You know? It's our nostalgia, right? It's our nostalgia.
Exactly. Nothing wrong with the nostalgia fact, because it was us three the longest time. You know, you gotta keep it in. You know.
That's right. Obviously, we are a proud member of the Hockey Podcast Network family, and with that, we are brought to you by Skylight Frames. This is the perfect season to kind of get in touch with those loved ones that live further away, or ones that, you know, maybe you don't see as often as you'd like. You can connect with them. There's no better way to do it than to put a smile on your loved one's face, than to share a special photo, whether it's a glimpse of the kids being silly, a magical moment from a vacation, or a sentimental memory from years past. Skylight Frame brings your favorite memories to life right in your home. For everyone, even those that are not tech savvy, share with your parents and your grandparents. Skylight is a life-changing new way to connect with family, especially for those who aren't keen on smartphones. The simple, user-friendly design makes it perfect for parents and grandparents. With Skylight, they can enjoy the magic of seeing new photos appear instantly, making it easy to stay connected without the need for complicated technology. This holiday season, give the gift that keeps on giving memories. Whether it's for grandparents who adore seeing the grandkids' latest antics, or a friend who loves capturing every moment, the Skylight Frame is the perfect gift to bring joy and connection into any home. It's effortless setup and instant sharing with no app or subscription required, and a quick 1-minute setup. Skylight is designed to be easy for all ages. Simply plug in the frame and you're ready to start sharing memories. It's interactive and engaging. The 10-inch color touchscreen allows for easy interaction, letting you pinch, crop, and zoom photos directly on the frame, creating a personalized experience. And it's got the ultimate surprise. Preload your favorite photos before gifting the Skylight Frame. When your loved ones plug in their new frame, they'll be welcomed with special memories ready for immediate enjoyment. It's better than social media. Skylight Frame is a great private way to share photos without posting them to the world or having to print hard copies. Over 1 million happy customers, thousands of 5-star reviews, and available in over 30 countries. Recommended by the Today Show, Forbes, it's no relation, New York Magazine, and more. Photos are displayed in HD resolution, and you can choose from 5 different frame styles. Set it up in portrait or landscape mode. For a limited time, get 20% off your purchase of Skylight Frame when you go to ca.skylightframe.com/hockey. That's right. To get 20% off your Skylight Frame, just go to ca.skylightframe.com/hockey. That's ca.skylightframe.com/hockey. Get 20% off Skylight Frame at ca.skylightframe.com/hockey. And Peter, we're kind of doing things a little odd right now. We're mid-game. We've got the second period underway. So if you see me kind of staring up there every once in a while, I am keeping an eye on our beloved Maple Leafs. I've got a little vino in hand here as we just finished dinner here at the Forbes residence. But, with the time of year, we got things on the go. We took the kids downtown. We went for a little horse and carriage ride. There was a little market in the downtown core right beside Canada Life Place, which we will talk about a little bit later because I was there covering the Prospects Challenge, which was a great experience. But outside of that, it's been a week. And I will before I get to you, I want to raise the question because I know they're never going to sponsor us. So I'm going to throw Tim Hortons under the bus here.
Perfect timing. I'm drinking Timmy's hot chocolate right now.
There you go. So
Tim's,
it might just be
me.
It might just be me. But Tim Hortons products have gone so downhill. And on top of that, their locations, the service is incredibly bad. To the point that I've been almost going to Starbucks daily now, which is a $3 coffee versus your $1.90 coffee that you get at Tim Hortons. But I want to give you 3 examples. So there's a Tim Hortons right near my work. And it used to be the best location. Like I used to work mornings, best location. And, just the service was incredible. Now, okay, get this. In the summer, asked for an iced coffee. Guess what they were out of?
Ice.
They were out of ice. Okay. Now, asked for an iced coffee made with chocolate milk. Guess what they were out of?
Ice or chocolate milk?
Chocolate milk.
Now, it was going to be one of those two.
Today we went for a little family drive. We stop at the Tim Hortons and we always, the kids get their bagels or whatever and they get their drink and whatever. Mm-hmm. And we get a little box of Timbits. Guess what they were out of?
Chocolate Timbits.
Timbits. All Timbits.
Oh, okay. There we go. That was
Timbits.
a bit of a curveball right there.
At about like 12 o'clock in the afternoon.
Chocolate Timbits are the best ones. I thought they would have been out of that.
12 o'clock in the afternoon, they're out of all Timbits. So,
come on.
Whoever's running the show, get your head on straight and try and figure it out. This is a disaster. This is a national treasure, and it's a complete and utter disaster that you can't get Timbits at like 12 or 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's just, it's mind-boggling. So there you go. There's my rant of the day. There's my Tim Hortons rant of the day. Brought to you by Tim Hortons.
Hey, you said you plan on going to Starbucks daily because, you pay for quality, right? And you pay for the good service. If you're not getting the good service, then what's the point, right?
Absolutely, 100%. It's a game changer for sure. But anyways, if you can't make the kids happy,
the rest of my hot chocolate there, but
if you, they make a quality product to buy in store. But if you can't make the kids happy, you're not going to get the service.
Absolutely not. Yeah. Nope. I totally agree. Totally agree, man.
Anyways, before we get into the hockey news, as we sit here and watch the second period, as I mentioned, how are you doing this week, Peter?
Man, it's really hard to top your rant about Tim Hortons right there because that is absolutely on point. I mean, it's basically anywhere you go. If you get bad service, it is what it is, but it's not going to change your opinion. It's something that seems to be happening no matter where you go.
Let me put it this way too,
and that's just the thing right now.
If there's any listener that's tuning in and works at Tim Hortons, and you can tell me why you're out of ice in the dead of summer,
or Timbits midday, and you're not baking anymore, or Timbits midday,
by all means, please comment in the comment section and let me know what the heck is going on because I'm still in awe. But anyways, back to you.
Yeah. I'm good. Like you said, it's getting into the winter months right now, and it's actually getting really chilly.
It's cold.
It's gotten cold very, very quickly, and I'm not used to the massive change or whatever. I need a gradual step. It went from 7, 8, 9 to -1, 2 in an instant like that, and that's when people get sick. Every time everything's thrown off kilter, and it's just what. Can't control it, but at the same time,
it's one of those
it does feel like winter right now. And because we're already in December, we're getting in December right now. I kind of feel like the switch is sudden, but it's the holiday season. It feels it in the air.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But I'm other than that, other than just me being cranky at our old age about the weather right now, just insert Abe Simpson, old grandpa yelling at cloud with the fist kind of thing because of the weather. Other than that, I'm good. How are you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing great. Like I said, we took the kids down to a Christmas market and went for a nice little horse and carriage ride around the Beautiful. Downtown core here. It was great. My son loved it. My daughter was loving it too. It was cold. It was cold as shit. It was cold as shit.
Yep.
I made the poor decision of not wearing gloves, and that was the worst decision I could have made. Man. That said, one of the local distilleries was down there. We got a taste test, a cream liqueur. We ended up buying a little multi-pack for the family, so super pumped about that because it is the holiday season and we're going to indulge a little bit, and no better way to do that than with a little cream liqueur. So outside of that, doing great. Like I said, I had a great experience this past week. We'll get into that a little bit later. It was nice being back home in, I call it Bud Gardens. It's called Canada Life Place now. It was nice to be back home in the rink. And we were talking star-studded lineup when you're talking about what the media that was there. You had Jeff Merrick that was there. Good to see him back and bouncing around. You had Stephen Ellis, a friend of the show, there as well. You had Cam Robinson. You had, you name it. You had Scott Wheeler. You name it. There was a ton there. So I actually ran into an old classmate that I had in university, and he's now the media guy for the OHL. So it was good catching up with him as well.
Awesome.
Which was nice to see him. But yeah, outside of that, it was a good week, and I mean, what better way to kick off the week, I guess close out our week, than to sit here, watch the Leaf game, talk about the Leafs, and have the two Matthews, as you see in the title. The two Matthews are back in the lineup. One of them's already done some damage tonight against Tampa Bay, which is good to see. We got Joseph Wall in net. It's a good night. It's going to be a good night. So with that, let's jump right into the Leafs talk here. Auston Matthews went from day to day to his days were continuing to pile up. And all of a sudden, he's week to week. We had the mystery trip to Munich. Steve Simmons comes out with another article basically trying to reveal the health issues that are Auston Matthews.
I saw that. I saw the headline in the post on social media. It's just not worth the click.
Chris Tanev just scored 2 to make it 2-0. There you go.
He did?
So
let's go.
He did.
You know what's funny? I thought he got the first goal, but it was deflected in by Knies. So you know what? First as a Leaf, baby. That's always great to see.
I like it. First as a Leaf, a big play by Tavares in the corner. This kind of like a watch along party. So if you're watching the game, you might as well tune into this. Give us a share, give us a follow, give us a subscribe on YouTube as well. But yeah, big shot, big wrister from the big guy on the blue line, right past Vasilevsky. He's looking good, man. He's looking good in a Leaf uniform. But so Auston Matthews is back. Steve Simmons trying to reveal the issues that he was having. We saw that years ago when he revealed that Auston Matthews had COVID. It didn't boil over well with Auston Matthews, which rightfully so it shouldn't. And then, of course, you had Steve Simmons. I don't know if you saw Rachel Dory's tweet about Steve Simmons basically calling the doctor out in Germany, saying that he's like some kind of scrub or whatever. And that, anyways, long story short, he basically like slandered this doctor out in
Doctor's
Germany.
actually taking a care and looking at Auston Matthews to make sure he's okay.
Christian McCaffrey, seen Usain Bolt, seen Auston Matthews, and now anyways.
So he's a nobody. Okay.
Just scored again. Nick Robertson.
Nicky Bobby
just tucked. Hey, I think we got to do this every game night now. Things are going well right now.
Was it like 30 seconds before we even got into our first point? Okay, we got to do that.
Oh man, look at the monkey's off his back. The monkey is off his back.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna. Yeah, what a play! What a play! And Fraser Minton was on the ice for that one too. He's gonna get an assist on that. He gets an apple. So Minton is
3
continuing
points in
his
4
pace.
games for Minty right now. So looking pretty sharp.
Not bad, man. Not bad. Anyways, I want to get your thoughts on Auston Matthews being back. He got an assist on Matthew Knies' goal tonight to open the scoring. The hope is he's back to 100%. He did miss significant time. The Leafs played well without him in the lineup. What are your thoughts with Auston Matthews coming back tonight?
Yeah, first things first, I just think Steve Simmons should stop playing doctor or undercover, private investigator doctor to try and find out people's medical records and everything like that or what's ailing them, because it's just not working out.
Let me interrupt you for 1 second. Do you not feel like he's trying to be like Rick Westhead? Like, I feel like
nobody's Rick Westhead.
No,
Rick
but that's
Westhead
what I'm saying.
Rick Westhead, but that's what I'm saying.
I feel like he's trying to be like going from like a Sun columnist to trying to be like a Rick Westhead type investigative reporter, and it's like it just seems the whole hot dog gate back with Phil Kessel was like the downslope of this guy's career.
That's as low as it's going to go.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Little mini rant right there. Just stop with the medical pieces and everything like that, because it didn't go over well last time. What makes you think it's going to go over well this time? But back on topic, Matthew Knies. I mean, Auston Matthews, but I will talk about Matthew Knies too, because honestly, I thought like Knies was out a little bit less compared to Matthews, and great to see him back and looking as great as ever. I mean, he got that nice deflection, and it looks like he hasn't missed a beat. We've talked about the hit. Knies came out saying that it was a hockey play, probably put himself in a bad spot as well. So you know what, all is good underneath the bridge. He's moving on. Matthews himself, I mean, yeah, it's just really great to see him back into the fold, because even that game against Florida, you could kind of start to feel that the main scoring was gone. Matthews' offensive touch was missing there. It kind of seemed like everything caught up to them. But Mitchie, Johnny, and Willie all carried the load until he came back, and now he's back. He already has a point in his return. You just love to see it at that point. Obviously, we still really don't know what's ailing him. I didn't even read Steve Simmons' article, so I'm not even going to take his word for it, whatever it is. As long as he's healthy, as long as the doctors cleared him, that's all that matters. He said he was raring to go. He was going to play, and he looks fine right now. Obviously, we want to see him get to those shooting lanes. We want to see that shot. We want to see the goals start going in bunches right now. But I even saw a stat too. Ever since he came back or from an injury and or suspension, he's had like, I think 13 or 14 goals and 17 points on a return. And I think that was what the stat said on Hockey Night in Canada. And unfortunately, I couldn't grab the screen cap in time, but I think it was something along that lines too. So whenever he returns, he's always hot. He's always productive. Just like he hasn't missed a beat. I know he was struggling at the beginning, but that's attributed to the whatever was ailing him. We just know it was upper body. That's it. But you know what? Glad that he's back. Glad that Knies is back, because they're forming that tandem right now, and it seems like everything's falling into place. You got two top lines right now where Johnny and Mitch are totally clicking right now. You have Nylander on that top line, and he looks like he's flying out there and connecting with both Knies and Matthews. So it's great to see. You got that balance up on the top six right now. You're going to have a lot of questions and who's going to stick and who isn't when everybody's fully healthy. But getting those two guys, getting 2/3 of your top line back, that's absolutely huge, and it's great to see.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, we mentioned it right off the hop here. Like, Knies scored the opening goal tonight. Nice deflection in front. And then, of course, Matthews gets an assist on it. Quick little stat here for you from Sportsnet Stats. Leafs, Auston Matthews tends to produce when he returns from injury. So, over his career, after returning from an injury, the first game back, there's been 14 games. He's had 13 goals and 17 points for a plus 10. Yeah. So 17 points in 14 games coming back from injuries. I mean, first of all, like, one takeaway from that is, man, stop getting injured. Like, we need you in the lineup. The other thing to take away is that, like, maybe when he is off, he does whatever he needs to do to get healthy and make sure that he's back to full strength to get things done. So, I mean, that's always a positive as well. The other one coming back is Matthew Knies, and this guy had such a great start to the season. Like, he was kind of falling into that power forward mentality that Leafs fans were hoping for him to have. Obviously coming off some good seasons in the NCAA. So that's been a big thing for him. Obviously early on, the injury we all know came from the White Cloud hit. He comes out and he sets the record straight, and he says, I should have had my head up. It was, I'm frustrated. I got injured from that play, but White Cloud reached out and apologized and make sure he was okay. So, I mean, take from that what you will. I don't think anybody thought that White Cloud intended to hurt anyone. I think it was more just a discussion of consistency overall.
Yeah.
That said, I mean, he comes back into the lineup and he's right back in front of the net, and he's got that deflection for the first goal of the game. Your thoughts on Matthew Knies coming back to this lineup?
Yeah, and it just seemed like every single game he was getting better and better and better and more comfortable on that top line. I mean, obviously now it's Nylander there in place of Mitch Marner, but again, same thing with Matthews. He hasn't missed a beat when he's come back. He's still got that energy, that ability to just go and establish that attack. And obviously with him on the power play, that net front presence was being missed, and it kind of showed at times, because with his body and his stature, obviously goalies are going to have a hard time to try and get through and see past him. But the skill that he brings, the ability to win the battles, that's going to be huge and pay off dividends for everybody else on the team, because he could throw it high to the point, get the cycle going, get an opportunity going as well. There's also the fact that if he finds Matthews or Nylander, you could rest assured that they're going to bury it. He could set up as that playmaker, even though he could do a lot of the heavy lifting, go into the dirty areas, getting those greasy goals. But if they need a shot and they need something powerful, he's not afraid to do it himself too. So he's a player that could do it all on that line. It's not one aspect that's making him successful. It's everything. And that's the type of hockey that Craig Berube wants to see. And Knies is living up to that expectation right now. There was that chance for him to be in the top 6, and he's running away with it right now. So again, it sucked that he had to miss a game. Granted that this past week, there was a lot of time for both him and Matthews to get healthy, which really helped out. He only missed one game, but he's coming back, and he's, kind of like Auston Matthews, hasn't missed a beat at this point.
Yeah, it's almost, it's almost perfect, the timing, because Knies didn't miss much time. Like overall, like he was obviously not skating. He was obviously, sitting out, but at the same time, like it wasn't like he was missing 5 games because they had a 4-game week and he missed a week. It was a short period of time, and he's able to get back in that lineup, and he's able to do damage right off the hop. And I think that's important to kind of keep his season going in the right direction. And the same kind of goes for Matthews. Like, realistically, it was a week-to-week injury. At the same time, like they had, I believe, 2 weeks of just 2 games during that span that he was off.
Yeah. This was probably the perfect time to rest up,
nurse that injury.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, you had the time to kind of get focused, reevaluate your injury, kind of get to where you need to be. And I think that was the most important takeaway from these 2 guys being off. And, the Leafs are far from being healthy. I think we've seen that. Obviously Bobby McMahon put on IR today as well. With the return of Matthews, with the return of Knies, they have to make some plays to get things done. That's the move they make. They've got Pacioretty still there. They've got Max Domi still there. They've got Yarncroke. They've got Kampf. They've got Reeves is still off on suspension. So, the team is still not 100%. We're talking about a team that is currently fighting the Florida Panthers for first in the Atlantic Division and really hasn't been 100% this entire season.
Yeah.
Wall started the season injured. All of a sudden you had Matthews off. And the list just kept boiling over. And we have not yet seen this team at 100%. So, right. Take away from that what you will, but when these Leafs get to 100%, if they can continue to play the way that they did, and we talked about Matthews coming back in the lineup, and we'll talk about it in a sec here, but the mindset has to be different. Before we do get to that mindset, though, just a quick word as we are in the Black Friday weekend, Cyber Monday, from the folks over at Raycon. Please, I'm not sure what you've looked for Black Friday or Cyber Monday. A lot of people go electronics. So what better way to do that than a company that already has great prices? Some might think that they don't have Black Friday or Cyber Monday deals, but Raycon does. And it's because with Raycon, you can get an amazing deal on premium audio every day of the year. But that doesn't mean they're not having any sales this weekend for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Far from it, they're actually doubling down on their amazing value by offering our reviewers up to 30% site-wide. A Cyber Monday deal you'll appreciate every day, Raycon's everyday earbuds, especially if you haven't checked out their latest model, which includes plenty of new features that make them even more of a must-have for any audio lover. For example, they now feature a 32-hour battery life and multi-point connectivity that lets you pair with 2 devices at once. I'm still not sure how that would be for all of us, but that sounds like a great idea. Raycon's everyday earbuds also come with active noise cancellation. It's a feature that's a must-have for me on long flights or long trips, or even just when you need to escape reality for a bit. But one that can be difficult to find at an accessible price point until now. Because that's another thing. Although Raycon's quality rivals some of the biggest names in premium audio, Raycons start at just half the price as the other guys. So they're already an incredible deal even before you factor in their Cyber Monday offer of up to 30% off site-wide. Raycon's everyday earbuds are also available in a variety of vibrant colors, so you don't have to just have the standard issue white or black earbuds sticking out of your ears. In fact, you can have purple, green, blue. They've got them all now. Now's the perfect time to scoop them up if you haven't already. And don't worry if you're not impressed as I am. Raycon offers a 30-day happiness guarantee, so you really cannot lose. It's time to save big for Cyber Monday. Go to buyraycon.com/THPN today to get up to 30% off site-wide. That's right. You'll get up to 30% off everything on Raycon's website when you go to buyraycon.com/THPN. Just a quick update on the game. Looks like McCabe did another Warrior block, and he's a little slow to get up. They've got the training staff out there looking at him now. Second period, midway through the second period. Leafs are up 3-0. So we just, blocked to the back of the head.
Oh, ouch.
So, right underneath the helmet too. Right underneath the helmet, right where the helmet ends and the shoulder pads start.
Yeah.
So we'll keep you updated on that as the show continues to progress here. But so Peter, the mindset with Matthews back in the lineup, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. The Leafs were successful without him there, aside from a 5-1 loss in their most recent game against Florida. Now that he's back, what's the mindset for the Toronto Maple Leafs and Craig Berube?
Play like with him in the lineup, you have to play like how he was out of the lineup. And obviously, it's tough to say that because he was playing through the injury when he was in the lineup in the beginning, which forced him out to this point. But at the same time, this team does feel like it's a different type of team with Matthews out. They're not forcing plays to try and find the best goal scorer in the league right now. We saw Mitch being greedy. We saw Johnny make fantastic plays. William Nylander taking control of certain situations where, he's a little bit more aggressive with his passing and his and getting into the open lanes. I think that when it comes to Matthews, they have to play with that same mindset where it's like he is out of the lineup, but he isn't, where it's not you're always going to him as the go-to finisher of a play. Kind of like what Mitch Marner has done in the past, where he elects to pass instead of shoot, and then shoot when he's supposed to pass. He found that better. He found that consistency a little bit better, where he was taking advantage of the shooting opportunities with Matthews out. Johnny was basically that setup man, and Mitch was doing a lot of the legwork with the speed, getting on the forecheck, and we even saw maybe a couple of instances where he was showing a little bit of bite, playing that Berube mindset. So I think with all of that, they just got to be a little bit more aggressive and just be a tad bit more selfish and not look and force a play to Matthews, because we all know what the opposition is going to think. Any single time Mitch has that puck, they're automatically thinking they're going to pass to Matthews. And it seems like everybody was cluing in. They got to be less predictable with that. So Mitch, if he has that shooting opportunity, it's going to throw a lot of people off. I think there was one shot earlier in the game where he was going to pass, and Vasilevsky thought that, but he took the shot, and it kind of surprised him. So having the deceptiveness to their game and thinking that they're going to pass to Matthews instead of when they're not, I think you got to play with that. You can't force plays to him constantly. Otherwise, it's just going to end up in a broken play, something going the other way, and then things kind of don't go your way. So I think they just need to be a little bit more aggressive with that.
Yeah, I agree. I think they've got to let everything that goes through Matthews happen organically rather than try to force it. I think the problem is, especially early on in the season, they were trying to force it to him. They were trying to get him those goals. The same way to close out last season where they wanted him to get 70 and they kept trying to force the play to him. They lost a couple games and it didn't make sense for the team as a whole. So I think what they've learned with him out of the lineup is that let things kind of play through him organically. Forget this, Matthews needs to do everything for us. There was a prime example of other guys stepping up, and Marner had played some of his best hockey. And Marner right now, you want the contract that you want, like play the way that you played when Matthews wasn't in the lineup. Be
And that's
selfless.
why I
Make
think
those.
they kept him away from Matthews because of the success he's having with Johnny. And I think that they figured that out.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. McCabe has gone to the dressing room. So, again, we will keep you updated on his status. Hopefully it's not anything serious, but he did take the puck, right? It was right about here in the back of that.
Right at that,
back of
yeah.
the neck,
Yeah.
Anyways, we got to talk about Robertson. I mean, we're gonna talk about how much he's struggled this season, and like, let's be honest, he's still struggling. But he gets a goal tonight. It's a beautiful shot. He absolutely rips it. He's got 2 points on the year. He's got 2 goals on the year. This is a guy who requested a trade in the offseason. Berube chatted with him. We know that. We don't know what was said. There was conversations about what his role would be with this organization moving forward. He's had a rough go this year. There's no doubt, and it's not for the lack of trying. It's not for the lack of chances. I think what happened was early on he was going so hard. He was trying to prove himself. He was trying to get that next contract, and maybe gripping the stick too tight. And from there, his confidence just fell off. And when his confidence fell off, he just started, things just weren't working for him, and he wasn't
forcing
taking
those said plays, basically.
Forcing the plays, trying to force shots from bad areas. And tonight, obviously, gets the monkey off his back with a big goal here to put the team up 3-0. Your thoughts on Nick Robertson? Is this the end of the line for Nick Robertson in Toronto?
I mean, initially, yes, before he got that goal, but I think that goal kind of just gave him a little bit more life and the team a little bit more life as well, because one, they need a little bit more secondary scoring. It has dried up since the start of the season. They could really use those extra 15, 20 set goals from a guy like Nick Robertson, because we know how great of a shooter that he is. And they even said it on the broadcast too. Like when I was watching him, they said that, we understand that he's a shooter. We understand that's his bread and butter, but you got to be a little bit more adaptive to the way you play the game. And maybe going to the greasy areas, maybe just tapping in one of those like rebound goals, one of those loose pucks, probably would have been the way to get the monkey off his back. But we saw him just absolutely rip it like he does, basically say like whatever like the critics are saying, he does the exact opposite, and it kind of works out. But even before then, yeah, the struggles were absolutely real. Like you said, gripping the stick too tight, even against the Florida Panthers, where he was kind of moved up into the lineup into that top 6 role, where plays were just dying on him, and bad bounce, like he just couldn't get the control. He couldn't get anything going. Even throughout the season, like he's got the speed, he had some motion, and he had opportunities, and it just couldn't buy them. Similar to like what happened with Matthews as well, but it kind of seems like there's a lot more riding on the line with him, and it seems like he's playing game to game to just stay in the lineup, possibly move up. And hopefully, he's been in the bottom 6 for a majority of the season. Hopefully with this instance right now, with this goal, it could motivate, it could boost his confidence up a little bit more. It could move him up further into the lineup where maybe Berube is going to be like, you know what, maybe you deserve another chance. If he's able to move up, great, because let's face it, with McMahon out, someone's got to step up. And basically next one up in line is Nick Robertson. If Pontus Holmberg, I still find that, placement of him in the top 6 a little bit off. But if Robertson's able to play and shoot like he is basically right now tonight, why not put him further up in the lineup? Why not make him that shooting threat where you do have that balance on that second unit as well with Mitch, Johnny, and Robertson as well? Because he has been able to hold his own a little bit more. I still think he gets pushed off a little bit easily, but the way that he's able to come out of like those, battles along the boards, and the way he regains possession of the puck and he's able to push the high danger area, that's what you want from him. That's what you want to see him do consistently and just make the right decisions. I think that's the main thing for him right now.
Yeah. So, I mean, I want to be on the same page, and I want to agree that, yeah, I think he's got an opportunity to stick again, but I can't stop thinking about that long list of forwards that you currently have out of the lineup. And when they come back, the guys that are
Yeah.
going down for sure, Fraser Minton, Nikita Grabenkin, and then the list goes from there. Probably Alex Nylander,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Steve's was just sent down, I believe, as well
Steve's.
today.
Was he sent down? I know he was a healthy scratch for sure. I didn't know if he was sent down as well or what, but
I kind of thought that he got sent down because of the return of Matthews and Knies.
okay.
That's what I thought, but then again, I could be wrong.
Yeah, I saw that he was a healthy scratch tonight, but I wasn't sure if that because they made the McMahon move that maybe he was able to stick. But regardless, the conversation then becomes like you said, Fraser Minton's got 3 points in 4 games, including a goal. And like we're talking a good goal, not like one of those ones that bounces off your shin pad. So
yeah, no, perfect snipe.
The question then becomes is, you know, do you move on from Robertson and kind of stick with guys like Fraser Minton and guys like Nikita Grabenkin who are willing to go out there and do basically anything, you know, back check, forward check, paycheck, right? Like that's, you know, that's the mentality of this kid.
Yeah.
And that's almost exactly what you want. And the Leafs just scored again. So Johnny Tavares puts that one in as well. 4-0 for the
Johnny
Leafs.
Toronto, let's go.
Johnny Toronto getting it done against the Tampa Bay Lightning. But yeah, you have to start to wonder if Nick Robertson, you know, it's one of those things like a little too late to get things done, right? Like, I mean, it'd be great to see him stick. It'd be great to see him find success. One of my preseason predictions was that, you know, this is a guy that could put up 20 goals given the right opportunities. He just has been snake bitten. And I think it comes down to confidence. I think deep down, he probably knew it wasn't about the team. I think deep down, he knew he just needed a reset and he needed a restart somewhere else. And I'm starting to think that maybe that's the position.
Still weighing on him a bit too.
Absolutely. And wondering what his role is with this team and seeing guys like Minton come up and get top 6 minutes, seeing guys like Grabenkin come up and basically put himself in the line, you know, throwing big hits against guys that maybe he shouldn't be.
Yeah.
It certainly makes you wonder if maybe this is the end of the line for Nick Robertson. And sometimes players do need that reset. I mean, we look at Timothy Liljegren. He's got 3 goals for the San Jose Sharks. He's got more than Max Domi. He's got more than David Kampf. He's got more than Pontus Holmberg. He's got more than Nick Robertson. And he needed a reset. He needed a fresh start because he wasn't a bad player. He just wasn't getting it done in the position that he was put in Toronto. And that's where you talk about maybe development and player development and how it functions within the realm of, you know, confidence within these players, especially these young guys who need that little boost in confidence. This might be the end of the road for Nick Robertson.
It's funny that you brought up 2 points. One, development, because when the Maple Leafs drafted him and he had that massive OHL season, COVID hit. I'm still wondering if maybe exactly. And this is one of those players that was drafted the year after, but he was still young. It still had an impact on the development. And obviously players develop at a different pace and everything like that. But let's face it too, even when the bubble happened, he had a brutal injury as well. So there was that. There was a season after another injury. So you kind of figure that he has had and faced a lot of rotten luck on his development path. You know, the whole entire world shut down, back-to-back injuries. That does play a factor as well. And it's a good thing that you brought up the fact that, you know, Minton and Grabenkin willing to do whatever it takes to stay in the lineup, because I actually just wrote about that this past week about what's going to happen with the way that these call-ups are playing, who could possibly be the odd man out. And glad that Nick Robertson scored today because he needs that confidence. But let's say that after this game, he goes 3-4 without a goal, but is still doing the right things. But Minton and Grabenkin are still doing the same thing and just look a little bit more noticeable. What's going to happen then? Are you going to keep Minton and Grabenkin up and then possibly move on from Robertson? Who knows what's going to happen, because there are a lot of tough decisions that need to be made when one player is struggling, 2 are moving up and making themselves known in the lineup, and they're getting good praise from their head coach and everybody else on the team right now. So something's got to give. It seems like I know we talked about like the left wing spot, how Matthew Knies surpassed them top 6. We thought that Nick Robertson could battle for that. There are a lot more players. There are players starting to surpass him, but a lot more players coming up from the system and getting more of an opportunity than him right now. So those two things I wonder about Nick Robertson as well, because it is tough for any player to deal with internal competition and the fact that, you know, a lot of people struggle during the previous 3-4 years.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to go back on something we talked about earlier, Alex Steve was sent down to the AHL, and Bobby McGann placed on IR retroactive to November 27th. So they did have to make the 2 roster moves.
Yeah,
obviously to get Matthew Knies and Auston Matthews back in the lineup. 2 more stats for you for those watching the game tonight. 34-year-old John Tavares has 21 points in 22 games this season while winning 61% of his faceoffs. Shout out to Scott Wheeler for that one.
Yeah.
And Jonas Siegel. The Leafs have scored 8 goals on Andrei Vasilevsky in 3.5 periods this season. So, we talked about in our preseason show about the fatigue that could be weighing on a guy that's been starting the most games over the last 5 seasons. Fatigue might be setting in for Andrei Vasilevsky.
And even overall, the Lightning as a whole, too, kind of, I mean, there's a lot more competition in the Atlantic Division right now, but apparently they only played 3 Atlantic Division opponents. Toronto twice right now, and then I think Ottawa once, and they lost both previous games and are down 4-0 to the Leafs right now.
Yeah.
So if Ottawa and Toronto are giving them fits, I mean, Toronto mainly should give them fits because they've had good success against them in the regular season, but they have yet to play Florida. They have yet to play Boston. Though Florida wants to create that separation from everybody else. Boston's fighting for their playoff life right now after Jim Montgomery was fired, which I still think is one of the most dumbest firings ever. I think the firing should lie with Don Sweeney and Cam Neely right now, but I digress. You have to wonder if Tampa Bay really is in that position like Boston. Like one of those teams aren't going to make it, basically.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think there's going to be one of those teams that doesn't make it. Like, I'm just looking at the Atlantic stats right now, the standings rather. Florida Panthers right now have played 25 games. They have 31 points. The Leafs are 3 points back at 28 points. They've played just 22. Tonight will be their 23rd. They're likely going to pick up another 2 points. So they'll be sitting 1 point back of Florida with 2 games in hand. The Tampa Bay Lightning, this is their 23rd game as well. They're 2 points back of the Leafs. Boston's played 25 games. They're at 25 points. So the rest of the division have games in hand on Boston. So you can assume that they're going to drop because right below them with 1 point less is the Buffalo Sabres, and they have 2 games in hand currently. The Detroit Red Wings are just 3 points back. They have 2 games in hand. The Ottawa Senators are just 4 points back. They have 3 games in hand. And then even the Montreal Canadiens right now are just 6 points back of the Boston Bruins for 4th in the Atlantic. They have 2 games in hand. So this Atlantic division, I'm not going to say it's not the best division by any means in hockey right now. It is one of the tightest divisions. It's going to be one of the best playoff races when it comes down to it. And you are going to see Tampa Bay or Boston miss the playoffs this season. I can almost guarantee it because the Metro right now is way better than the Atlantic. And their 4th place team, the New York Rangers, has played 23 games. They've got 27 points. That's more than everybody in the Atlantic except for Florida and Toronto.
Yeah.
So there's your wild card team. And just below them is the Philadelphia Flyers with 25 points through 24 games. They have a game in hand on the Boston Bruins. So right now, as of now, if the playoffs started today, the Boston Bruins would be out of the playoffs.
And we know, and there's always that sense or that saying that by American Thanksgiving, teams get a sense of where they really are. And with a team on the bubble like the Boston Bruins, you know they're going to be desperate with their play. They're going to be desperate with the moves that they make. That, again, I mean, the moves they've made so far haven't helped them out in a good light. But, yeah, it's definitely not looking good for said teams that are on the bubble. But then again, this is where things, not necessarily crunch time, but you have to start to feel a little bit of worry.
Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah. That's another team
26
right there.
points with 23 games. There's another division. Look at the Pacific.
Mm-hmm.
The Edmonton Oilers right now are in 5th in the Pacific Division with 26 points through 23 games. The San Jose Sharks, the lowly San Jose Sharks, have 21 points in 26 games. So, I mean, Edmonton's got 3 games in hands. 3 games in hand. But I mean, realistically, from third, which is the Calgary Flames, to 8th in that division is a 7-point gap.
Yeah.
That's it. So, talk about parity in the NHL right now. That's a crazy number. And with that, right now, why don't you head over to DraftKings Sportsbook and pick who you think will make the playoffs? Because the 2024-25 NHL season still has that new car smell. And the action is heating up at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. It's super easy for first-timers to get started at DraftKings Sportsbook. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. Like tonight, if you had picked the Leafs to win, chances are your bet's looking pretty good. And if you are new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive a reward. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ice. Copyright NHL 2024. All rights are reserved. And you can truly go and bet who you think will make the playoffs right now. It's a crazy stat, but like you said, if you look at where teams are at American Thanksgiving, usually teams end up being in the playoffs or not based on where they were at this time of year. That can change for those bubble teams a little bit. But for some of those high-end teams that we've talked about in past seasons, Boston Bruins, Tampa Bay Lightning, Edmonton Oilers, it's not looking great. Anyways, let's talk about the event that I went to this past week, the CHL USA Prospects Challenge, and a new event. It's the first year they've hosted this event, and big shout out to Chris Sagan, who is the media guy, the media guru for the CHL. He did a great job putting on a fantastic show, hosted in London and in Oshawa. I went to the game in London at Canada Life Place. Like I said, the media row, scribe row was full of big names across the hockey world. Megan Chayka was there. Jeff Merrick, as I mentioned, Cam Robinson, Scott Wheeler, Stephen Ellis, you name it. There were scouts. There was everyone was there. Kyle Dubas was there. I saw him down in the food line. Making some trades to get Eric Carlson. No, I'm just joking. But
scouting for that first overall pick, maybe.
Scouting for that first overall pick. Another team that likely is going to miss the playoffs, the Pittsburgh Penguins. But basically, I know you watched both games. What I saw, I was there with Jordan Orth from the Hockey Writers as well. He had driven up from Saginaw. And, he saw the afternoon skate with the U.S. development program and said they were flying. The game told a little bit of a different story. The CHL, the way they were able to come together so quickly and build chemistry and just they were flying. They were absolutely flying. And on top of that, Joshua Ravensbergen, he had a hell of a game. Didn't see much rubber, but somehow stay focused. And I just released a piece about him today at the Hockey Writers, and it talked about, one of the questions was how do you stay focused when you don't see much rubber? And his biggest thing was, I like to envision myself making saves. And when he said that, I immediately thought to that game at the Hockey Hall of Fame where you can put on the pads and be the goalie. And I imagined him just kind of standing there, kind of doing that in his own head. But whatever he's doing, it's working. He went from being an undrafted WHL player to now being considered probably one of the top goaltenders in this draft. Certainly one of the top Canadian-born draft eligible goaltenders. So I think that's, getting a chance to see him play was great. I mentioned, Martone could have easily been my first overall pick coming out of there. I think there's going to be a huge conversation about Schaefer as well. There's a number of people that truly believe that Schaefer's going to be the first overall pick this year in the 2025 draft. Of course, we didn't see Hagen, so we don't know that he's got to be part of that conversation as well. But Schaefer's N10 goal, man, it was one for the ages. Ravensburger actually picked up an apple on that. He was super stoked after the game to talk about that. He said, I didn't get the shout out, but I picked up an apple, so that's always nice. But yeah, the end-to-end rush by Schaefer, the power move to the net. I don't want to make comparisons. I hate making comparisons to NHL players, but very, very, very much Cale Makarish. Cale Makarish. Not just offensively driven. This kid is the whole package. This kid is everything you want in a defender. He wasn't afraid to mix it up. He skates like the absolute wind, and his puck handling skills are just unbelievable. So what were your takeaways from watching those two games in London and Oshawa?
Well, you could say that the whole entire Team CHL wasn't afraid to mix it up because it seemed like after every single whistle, they were getting into their face, in Team USA's face nonstop. I mean, you just said it best. I think the race for number one is not as easy as it seems right now. I think there's a lot more competition. Hagen's, again, he's got the smarts and IQ. Martone has the leadership and that edge that teams love. You just mentioned Schaefer after that end-to-end rush. The way that he was absolutely able to be deceptive with his skating, to slow it down and then turn on the jets and just blow by everybody. I mean, you just said that. You don't see a lot of players at that age do that and excel so well in doing so. I mean, even at the beginning of that second period where he had that assist to Cameron Schmidt where he just rifles it on the rush and Schaefer just passes it off. I mean, that was absolutely fantastic. The way he's didn't break stride, played at that quick pace, and then was still able to make that play. Absolutely fantastic. And there's a sense why right now he could be the one to go first overall and challenge most likely James Hagens at this point. And obviously with that type of player, that type of attribute, or the type of attributes that he has and the way that he can eat minutes at that young age already. And this is a player that absolutely dominated the Helene Gretzky Cup for Canada on the back end, missed the start of the season because of mono, and just, hasn't missed a beat. I mean, it's absolutely phenomenal what he's able to do in end of August to beginning till now and still throw his name into the race for first overall. That's absolutely impressive. So him, Martone, Hagens, Misa even. I didn't find the score sheet often, but I still thought he looked really dangerous with the way that he was being deceptive with his playmaking. You basically essentially have a four-way tie, and each player is making their case right now. So that's going to be very interesting to see. You mentioned at the top, they didn't have Hagens. They didn't have Logan Hensler. They didn't even have Colin Potter, who's quickly making a name for himself right now too. I think that I know it was only for the junior level. I know they're in the NCAA. They're one step above. But I think if they're draft eligible, I think maybe they should be able to play. I think that should be one instance where, yeah, I get their commit. I get they can't do anything else. But if they're able to leave for the World Juniors, they could probably do it for a little mini showcase, possibly like that. That's just me. I like you mentioned at the top of the show, hope there are those subtle changes where you get to see a little bit more competitive, because CHL is just absolutely dominant. But other players, I like Lyndon Lajkovic. one player that's increasing his stock. Again, Cameron Schmidt, big fan of his. 5'7", but plays like he's 6'1", 6'2". Heavy shots. I mean, just an absolute goal scoring is on his mind. He can pepper shots on net, find the back of the net easily. I really like this game. Keishon Aitchison, we've talked about that, him as well. Just an absolute force on both sides of the puck. If he's not making a heavy shot, he's going to find the body and he's going to make a big time hit. I love that intensity that he brings, and I feel like those players have increased or have improved their stock as a result. Again, Raffensperger looked great. Ivan Kovac looked good in the second game. I think those are your top two goalies in this draft class right now. Possibly could be possible first rounders. Who knows? Maybe Ivan Kovac slides because he's not 6 feet, but still looked very cool, calm, and collective in the net. So those are my takeaways. I really enjoyed that showcase. I really want to see more of that. And like you mentioned, maybe have more of a 5-game kind of feel, like a little 5-game mini playoff series. I think that'll be very interesting to see.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think there are subtle changes that need to be made. I would like to see a little bit of a series more than just 2 games, because realistically you could split. The intensity between the two teams, like, this is going to create some hatred, and I like that. Right off the hop, there was some big hits. I want to say about 15 big hits right off the top.
I set the tone early.
Yeah. One guy that stood out to me was Blake Fiddler. He had some big, huge hits for Canada. I mean, obviously, if you read my piece, he's a dual citizen as well. So he's played for the U.S., he's played for Canada. So that's an interesting little tidbit there for you as well. But yeah, just some guys that stood out for me. Of course, Aitchison, like we talked about it, that big hit to close out the first period. Obvious interference, but man, was
can't
it
make it any more obvious. But yeah, man,
was it a hit? Absolutely leveled him. And the thing was, he didn't shy away from any of it. And one of the biggest takeaways was a quote from head coach Chris Mallett after the game too, and he said, I don't know him, but I absolutely love this kid. I love him a lot. And for a guy that's coming off the West Coast to kind of see this kid from the Theo and have those words to say about him, he was getting involved. He knows how to walk the line a little bit. He does play on the edge, but he knows where to kind of draw that line. And there are times that maybe he steps over it a little bit, but he can quickly bring himself back in and controls those emotions pretty well.
That's what you want
considering. To see. Well, especially for an 18-year-old as well, right? So
absolutely.
Some of my other takeaways, I don't think that the first overall race is as close as we've seen as distinct as we've seen in recent years.
Yeah.
There is more of a race. I would like to see Hagens kind of play in that situation as a showcase. That said, I think Schaefer's going to really push it on that. I do think Martone, like, the one thing I noticed with Martone is the poise that he plays with the puck. There was twice on the power play in game 1 of this challenge where he walked the line, skating backwards, controlling the puck with a defender right in his face, and there was no panic. It was complete poise. He made the play. He was able to keep it in, and the focus on that is something that you don't see at his age very often. So I really like that. I was a little disappointed with Misa. I think he, for me, took a step out of that number 1 race, only because, not to say he's not talented. He is incredibly talented. You can see that. He's a tough body to move in front of the net. Another guy that was tough to move in front of the net was Desnoyers as well. So they were very big bodies, tough to move. But Misa, for me, needed to be a little bit more involved. And that was it. He just needed to be a little bit more involved. I felt like he wasn't as much as, say, a Martone or a Schaefer, or, we've seen with Hagens in his play in the NCAA. So that was the one thing that maybe stood out for me and why he might not be a top 2-3 pick for me. One guy on the U.S. side, Jack Murtagh, this kid has handles. He has handles.
Easily their best player.
Easily their best player. He can get in between the defenders so easily, and he was just a standout for me. But yeah, it was a hell of a tournament. I love the idea. I think they got to continue with it, and excited to see where they go with it past that. Before we close it out here with one quick NHL news tidbit, just a quick word from our last sponsors of the night, Gametime. Man, if you want tickets to anything, you definitely got to check out Gametime. Yeah. If you're looking for any seats to anything, hockey, comedy shows, theater, make sure you check out Gametime. They've got this new thing, Gametime Picks. It's a curation that makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc. It's all in pricing, so when you can toggle this feature. It shows the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout, and you get a panoramic view to see if before you even buy the tickets, to see what your seats look like, what your view looks like. It's the lowest price guaranteed, or Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference. Your purchase is covered fully with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code THPN for $20 off the first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem code THPN for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? It's game time. So before we jumped on here, there was two trades this afternoon. Justice Annunen, and I saw your tweet. Justice Annunen is going from Colorado to the Predators. Scott Wedgwood going the other way. A lot of goalie finagling in Nashville, but that wasn't the biggest news of the day. Yeah. David Jiricek, now a member of the Minnesota Wild, and that blue line is suddenly looking really damn good. 4 picks going the other way. A first in 2025. It is top 5 protected. I believe it was a second and a third in 2026. Mm-hmm. And then 2027 was a second round pick. Or sorry, it was a third and a fourth in 2026. And then 2027 was a second round pick. So your thoughts on that trade?
Yeah. You saw my thoughts on the Annunen trade. I think it's just, I have no idea what Barry Trotz is doing. It's just him trying to figure out the goaltending situation that he kind of messed up when he signed Scott Wedgwood, when Yaroslav Askarov could have been the backup. I mean, that just kind of blew my mind. But yeah, the whole Jiricek Columbus situation has been kind of in, a bad situation ever since last season, when Jiricek said, I think I know my worth. I feel like I should be in the lineup. Kind of like Askarov at this point. But now he has a better opportunity to thrive more in Minnesota than he does in Columbus. And, obviously a loss for Columbus, because he is a big time caliber two-way defender with a lot of skill and upside. Yeah, you get the picks. Yeah, you expect him. I mean, you get the picks. It's great to have, but at some point you got to stop the rebuilding phase and move forward. And Jiricek could have been that key piece. And Minnesota just got rich. I mean, that's just a big W right there, where you now have Brock Faber, Zeev Buium, who's tearing it up in NCAA right now, and David Jiricek. Mm-hmm. That is a solid foundation for your top 3 defenders for the future right now. Faber's already up here. I don't think it's going to be long before we see Buium move up. Maybe sometime in the AHL, but the way that he's playing right now, the confidence that he's playing with, aside from Sam Dickinson, he was my next best defender, 100% in 2024. I mean, Minnesota Wild got a great one right there, because all the Faber's looking like money, Buium's looking like money, and the Jiricek addition is just a big addition right there. So they're set on that back end for the foreseeable future, and that's going to be a lot of envy for a lot of NHL teams right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Billy Guerin getting it done in Minnesota. Yeah, that's all we got here tonight, Peter. Anything you wanted to say before we close it out?
Just be on the lookout for some World Junior stuff. I got that in the works right now. So some a Leaf post about who could potentially go, as well as some other World Junior stuff where I break down possible team breakdowns, prospects to watch kind of thing, the usual.
Beautiful. Well, as always, we thank you for joining us, especially during the Leaf game tonight. A little bit of an odd time for us to go live, but they're up 4-0, 15 minutes, just under 15 minutes left to go. So we'll let you enjoy the rest of the game. big shout out to the Hockey Podcast Network for continuing to push the envelope on the hockey podcasting world, as well as DraftKings, Gametime, Raycon, and the Indie Ale House. Until next week, that's all we got from Peter and Andrew here at the Sticks and the Six podcast for episode 181. That's all we have. Until next week, go Leafs go.